People say family is everything. They say your sister is supposed to be your best friend. Your parents are supposed to protect you, guide you, and be proud of you when you do something right. But what happens when the people you love the most are the ones who hurt you the deepest? My name is Emma, and I was the quiet one in my family. I worked hard, stayed out of trouble, and always did more than what was asked of me. I paid bills no one noticed. I helped my sister go to college. I gave up my own comfort so others could live better. And how did they thank me? With a slap in front of strangers. With silence when I cried for support. And later, with betrayal I never saw coming. This is not just a story about pain. It's a story about standing up. It's about learning the hardest lesson of all. Sometimes family doesn't deserve your loyalty. I've always been the quiet one in the family. I never caused trouble. I worked hard, helped at home, and even supported my younger sister, Chloe, even when no one asked me to. I thought that's what older sisters do. Last month, our college arranged a 4-day trip to the mountains. It was expensive and Chloe didn't have enough money to go. My parents didn't have it either. So, without telling anyone, I quietly paid for Chloe's ticket, hotel, and food. I used my own savings, money I made working late hours at the bookstore. I just wanted her to have fun and feel included. At first, the trip was great. We took photos, played games, and even went hiking. But on the third day, something happened that changed everything. We were sitting around the campfire with other students, and someone suggested a fun game called Truth Challenge. It was supposed to be light and silly. When it was Chloe's turn, someone jokingly asked if she had ever copied someone else's college project. People laughed, and Chloe smiled at first, but then her eyes landed on me. Her smile turned cold. Well, maybe I would have if my sister wasn't always trying to act like she's better than me, she said. I blinked, shocked. Chloe, that's not true, I said quietly. I've never acted like that. Without warning, she stood up, came over to me, and slapped me right across the face. Everyone gasped. I couldn't believe it. My face burned, not just from the hit, but from the embarrassment. I looked around, expecting someone to say something, but no one did. Some people even laughed nervously, like it was just a sister fight. I held back my tears, stood up, and quietly walked away. What they didn't know is that I had been paying for Chloe's college, her clothes, and even half the bills at home. And this was how she treated me. I didn't say anything that night. I just sat alone, feeling like the world had turned upside down, but that was just the beginning. When the trip ended, I went back home with a heavy heart. I didn't sleep much the night before. My face still stung a little from the slap, but what hurt more was my sister's behavior and everyone acting like it was normal. As soon as I got home, I sat down with my parents. I told how Chloe had slapped me in front of everyone, how she embarrassed me for no reason, and how nobody stood up for me. My mom frowned, but didn't seem angry at Chloe. My dad just shook his head and said, Emma, maybe you provoked her. You always act too serious. I couldn't believe what I was hearing. Dad, she hit me in front of strangers. She's younger, I said. My mom added, you should have been more understanding. Chloe's just emotional sometimes. And you know how she hates being corrected. I stared at them in silence. That's when I realized they were never going to take my side, no matter what Chloe did. I pulled out a folder I had kept in my bag. Inside were printed copies of bank transfers, receipts, and utility bills. I placed them on the table and said, Here, these are all the payments I've made the past 6 months. Rent, electricity, tuition, even her textbooks. I've been the one keeping this house running while you all praised her and ignored me. They looked at the papers, but even then, their faces didn't change much. My mom said softly, Well, you never told us you were struggling. That was your choice. It was like a knife through my chest. You're right, I said. It was my choice. And now I'm making another one. I stood up, walked to my room, and started packing my things. My parents didn't stop me. Chloe didn't even come out of her room. Before I left, I turned and said, Let's see who's still the favorite when the bills stop getting paid. And with that, I walked out of the house, not just physically, but emotionally. I was done trying to prove my worth to people who never really saw it. But they were about to learn what life was like without me. After I moved out, I stayed with a friend named Lena. She lived in a small apartment downtown and welcomed me with open arms. "You don't deserve that kind of treatment," she said as she helped me unpack my bag. I hadn't cried much at home, but with her, the tears came freely. It felt strange at first, not worrying about Chloe's bills, my parents' groceries, or the electricity bill. But it also felt freeing. I had finally taken control of my own life. A week passed, then 2, then 3, and little by little, I started hearing things. At first, it was just whispers from people at college. Chloe had been removed from her classes because her tuition hadn't been paid. She had no idea how to apply for aid or even talk to the office. She had always relied on me for everything, and now she was completely lost. Then I got a text from a neighbor back home. "Hey, I think your family's power got shut off. I saw someone from the electric company outside the house today." I didn't respond. I just stared at the message. The next day, my mom called. I didn't answer. Then she texted, "Emma, we need to talk. Things are difficult right now." But I stayed silent. They had ignored my voice when I cried for help. Now they were finally hearing the silence I had been forced to live with. Later, Lena told me that Chloe had posted a message online saying I had abandoned the family and left her to suffer. She was trying to paint herself as the victim. But Chloe didn't know something important. One of my classmates, Sarah, had been there on the trip. She had recorded the moment Chloe slapped me and saved it. She messaged me privately and said, "Emma, do you want me to post this? People need to see what really happened." I thought about it. I had never wanted revenge, but I did want the truth to come out. So I told her yes. And what happened next was something none of us expected. The video went live on a Thursday evening. Sarah uploaded it to her public page with a simple caption: "When you slapped the sister who paid for your trip, your tuition, and your home bills." It was only 30 seconds long, but it hit like a storm. You could clearly hear Chloe's voice mocking me. You could see her walk over and slap me, and then my shocked face as I quietly walked away. The sound of laughter in the background quickly turned into awkward silence. Within an hour, the video had over 10,000 views. By morning, it had spread across our campus. Students who once ignored me now looked at me differently. Some sent private messages apologizing for laughing that night. Others simply commented things like, "You didn't deserve that. This is awful. I'm so sorry." Chloe's true colors were finally exposed. Then came the real twist. A popular college blog picked up the video and wrote a short article. She paid for everything and still got slapped in public. Meet Emma, the sister who deserved better. I was in the middle of my shift at the bookstore when Lena burst in, holding her phone. "Emma, you're trending." I laughed, not really understanding what she meant until I saw my face on the blog's homepage. The next day, a nonprofit group that supports young women in education messaged me through Instagram. They had seen the article and wanted to offer me a full scholarship and a chance to share my story. It didn't feel real. All my years of quiet giving, all the times I was ignored, used, or made to feel small, suddenly, people saw me. Meanwhile, Chloe deleted all her social media. My mom sent me a long, dramatic voice note blaming me for ruining our family's reputation. I didn't reply because, for the first time in my life, I was finally being seen for who I truly was. But just as I started to rebuild, they showed up again. And this time, with a secret plan of their own. It had been almost a month since I left home. Things were finally starting to get better. My name was out there in a good way. I was accepted into the scholarship program, and I even got a part-time job at their office, helping other students in need. I felt proud. I was finally living a life where no one controlled me. Then, one Saturday afternoon while I was working at the campus help center, I looked up and froze. Standing near the front desk were Chloe and my parents. They looked different, tired, worn out. My mom's hair was messy, and Chloe wasn't wearing her usual fancy clothes or makeup. My dad looked uncomfortable, holding a folder. Emma, my mom said, putting on the fakest smile I had ever seen. Can we talk? I stood up slowly and said, Why are you here? Chloe stepped forward. Look, I'm sorry for what I did. I was stressed. I wasn't thinking straight. You slapped me in front of everyone, I said calmly, and then tried to make people feel bad for you online. She stayed quiet. My dad cleared his throat. We've had a rough time lately. We lost the house. The car is gone. We've been staying with your uncle. I looked at them but felt no pity. That's when my mom handed me the folder. We were thinking, she said sweetly, maybe we can move on from this. Maybe you can help us again, just until things get better. I opened the folder. It was a loan application with my name on it. They had filled out my details, my social security number, my school ID, everything. Trying to apply for a student loan in my name. You were going to sign this without telling me? I asked, my voice shaking. Chloe tried to explain. We needed the money. You're doing so well now. What's the harm? I stared at her, stunned. You didn't come here to apologize, I said. You came to use me again. I reached for my phone and said clearly, if you don't leave right now, I'll call security and then I'll file a report for identity theft. They stood frozen for a second. Then my mom hissed under her breath, You've changed. Yes, I replied. I finally know my worth. They left without another word, but I kept the folder, and I did file that report. What came next was something they never expected. Filing the report wasn't easy, but it was necessary. The office helped me reach out to a legal aid group that supported students facing family abuse or fraud. They were shocked when they saw the loan documents my parents had tried to file using my name. Within days, we had everything prepared. The forged paperwork, my identity records, and the messages they had sent me. A few weeks later, I was sitting in a small courtroom, watching the people who raised me now sitting in front of a judge as defendants. Chloe looked embarrassed. My dad avoided eye contact. My mom still had that fake smile, like she thought she could charm her way out of everything. The judge was firm and clear. You used your daughter's information to apply for a loan without her consent. That is identity theft and attempted financial fraud. Their lawyer tried to make excuses, blaming stress, financial trouble, and family issues. But the judge didn't care. And when it was my turn to speak, I stood up and said, I was their silent supporter for years. I paid bills, tuition, and gave up my own needs just to make them comfortable. And they still turned on me. They didn't just use me. They tried to steal from me. The courtroom was quiet. In the end, the judge gave Chloe 1 year of probation and 100 hours of community service for her role. My parents were ordered to repay everything they had already taken under my name. They were also banned from opening any accounts using my identity again. The final words from the judge stuck with me. Being family does not give someone the right to steal your future. I walked out of the courtroom that day feeling lighter, not just legally free, but emotionally, too. Today, I live in a small studio apartment that I pay for myself. I work part-time at the nonprofit and study on a scholarship that I earned. People know my name now, not because I was loud, but because I finally stood up. As for my parents and Chloe, I haven't heard from them since the case ended. And honestly, I don't need to, because I finally found peace in a life I built on my own.